In this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use FormRanger, the Google add-on, to set session sign-up limits to specific sessions based on how many people have registered and the caps that you want to set. Form limiter is great if you want to set a limit for how many form submissions in total you get, but sometimes you want to limit specific sessions. For example, I only want 10 people to register for session 2, a maximum of 5 to register for session 1, and a maximum of 15 people to register for session 3. And I want it to close, that session option to close after that, but I still want to allow people to register for less than full sessions. So to do this, I click on the Add-ons button at the top of my form, and I click Get Add-ons. You can see that FormRanger is one of the options, and I'll click Free. I go ahead and I accept it. And now you'll see that FormRanger is an option right here. It's going to pop up on the side. And you can see that I can populate the session sign up, which is the only multiple choice or checkbox option in my form. So that's why it's the only one I see here. From a values list from another place. So I can create a new values list. And I can go ahead and look for a spreadsheet somewhere here. So what I need to do is I need to go to my View Responses sheet here, which is the spreadsheet where all the data is going to go to. And I'm going to create a new sheet or tab in the spreadsheet to create a values list. So this is the list of options that will populate what people see when they create or when they fill out this form, that will populate the options here. So I'm going to first call the first option Revise Session Name. The second one is going to be Original Session Name, Session Count, and Session Limit. Go ahead and spread all these out. It's a bit much. There we go. Okay, so the original session name is just what I have here, Session 1, Session 2, Session 3. You want to make sure that whatever you type in original session name is character by character verbatim what you have here in these options. So sometimes it makes sense just to copy and paste it if it's a more complicated session name with a lot of spaces and punctuation and words. You want to make sure everything is spelled correctly. You have the same punctuation, the same spelling, the same number of spaces between words or after words. So once you make sure that that's the same, then you're going to go ahead and set your session limits. I want only 5 people in this session, 10 and 15. Now I'm going to create my session counts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and count how many people have signed up for session 1. The way I'm going to do that is do a formula called COUNTIF. So it's equal sign, the word COUNTIF with no spaces, open parentheses, and then I have to select the range. So where do I look to see if someone signed up for session 1? Well, that's in the Form Responses tab in column D. So this is where the responses are going to go as they sign up. So I'm going to look all up and down column D. Then I'm going to do comma, and I'm going to have it look for session 1. And that's why I need to make sure that whatever in this cell is 100% exactly the same as what this option is, because this option is what's going to populate in the form responses. So it's looking in form responses in that question column for this exact text, and it's going to count how many times it sees it. So far, 0 times. Now, rather than typing out that formula again and again, I can just double click this blue square and it's going to autofill down, but instead of looking for session 1, it's going to look for the contents of cell B3, which is session 2. See that? And this is going to look for cell B4, which is session 3. So it's counting how many times people have registered for each of these sessions. Now the next thing I want to do is create this revised session name. So if the session count is less than the session limit, then I want them to be able to sign up for the session. If it's not less than the session limit, if it exceeds the session limit, I want them to not see this as an option anymore, but instead have a suggestion to sign up for something else. So I'm going to use an if formula. So it's equal sign IF, open parentheses, and then there's a little test here. So if the session count is less than the session limit, then comma, the value if it's true, then I want it to show session 1. But if it's not true, if the session count is greater than the session limit, then I want it to have an expression. So I'm going to do quotation marks. I'm just going to type out a sentence, and when you do that in a formula, you need a quotation mark. Quotation mark, this session is full. Please choose another. Close quotation mark. I'm going to close the parentheses because I'm done with the formula and hit enter. And you can see that it doesn't show that whole ugly formula. Well, actually, I think the formula is beautiful, but it doesn't show this whole big formula. It just shows session 1 because the session count is still less than the session limit. Again, instead of copying or redoing the formula over and over again, I can just select the cell with the formula, double-click the blue square, and it autofills down. So I'm going to go ahead and make this session limit even smaller just so I can show you a test. I'm going to make a session limit 1 to show you what happens when the criterion is met. So I'm going to come back over to my form, and you can see I have populate from values list, and I'm going to select a new values list. And now that I've created that sheet, I can go ahead and find it. So it was in session sign up form responses. I'm going to select that. Which data? I'm not looking in form responses 1, I'm looking in sheet 2. And the column header is revise session name. That's the column I want to dictate the options in the form there. Great. I'm going to click next. Now it's saying give this values list a name. I'm going to call this session sign up options. It's going to save that. And it just refreshed this with the options from the session sign up form. So I can go ahead and create the option to repopulate questions upon form submit. So yes, I'm going to turn that on. So every single time somebody submits something, it's going to go ahead and check to repopulate these options. So I'm all set. I can go ahead and close this and go to live form. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it out and choose session 1. Jenny, j@gmail.com. Session sign up. I'm going to select session 1 and click submit. If I look over at my responses here, you can see that response went through. Session 1, so in column D it counted 1, session 1, so you can see here the session count for session 1 is 1. It's hit that session limit, and it changed the session name to this session is full, please choose another. So if I go back and look at my form, you'll see that it changed that option to this session is full, please choose another. So that's just a really quick way to set session limits. Hopefully that helps. I'm sure there are better ways. If you have some other ideas, please put them in the comments below.